Welcome back to Anno 1800, and this is a new episode in our perfect layout and stamp series. Today I'm going to show you once again from completely basic early game stamps and layout to completely end game stamps and layout for the workloads. We're trying to do 1 or 2 key resources per video, and today this is the workloads. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see my other videos, the full series. For example, I have a tutorial about stamps, right? How to create them, how to download stamps from other players and have them in your games, and much more. We've also covered in the past some other resources like the schnapps. And all of the stamps that I'm going to show you today are available for free on my Discord community. You can find in the video description below the link to just join the Discord community. And there you'll find one channel with all of the stamps to download for free. Okay, let's dive in and cover a very basic, completely early game. You don't need to have unlocked anything. Right from the start, you can build this stamp. And this is going to give you workloads, but also schnapps. With it, you'll produce with a perfect ratio 2 workloads and 2 schnapps per minute. Of course, by producing also 2 potatoes and 2 wool. What's great with this layout is that the consumption of workloads and the consumption of schnapps is actually almost the same. So basically in the early game, you know that you need basically the same amount of both, and therefore having one layout that covers both is great. So as soon as you upgrade your city, you can place again the same next to it or in front of it. And when you unlock the fire station, you can put the fire station at the spot where you had one of your warehouse. 72 out of 72 modules for your potato field and a perfect rectangle. I really like this one, very easy, but very useful in my opinion. Now let's move to dedicated workloads layout. The first one is again a basic one because you don't need to have access to silos or anything like this, right? We can build this one early game. There's nothing preventing you from that. Or with this one, you can produce 16 workloads per minute. Again, perfect ratio with 16 wool being produced and used right away. So you can definitely feed a lot of population with that, probably even a couple of your early islands. So if you're still very early in the game, that's probably too much, but don't worry, you don't have to have all of them on, right? You can click on the blueprint mode over here and build it in blueprint, and then you just build the building that you need, right? So you build the warehouse in the middle, maybe you build only 1 fire station, and then, maybe 1 or 2 sheep farm, and 1 or 2 framework knitters depending on what you need, right? And then when your consumption starts to increase, then you can build a few more. And then when this is full, you can put another one next to it, or you can move to our next level with silos. Another exciting one, I'm pretty proud of it. As you can see, super compact, perfect rectangle. Of course, if you don't want to, you don't have to put the trees around. I just put them to show you that, it's a perfect rectangle. If we look at the production, now we're talking about 20 workloads per minute with a slight overproduction of sheep. So you'll always be sure that you're producing enough. And the cool thing is that we are producing also all of the wheat needed for silos directly into this layout. So you don't need to import it from another island or from another part of your island. This is over here, the grain farm. It is actually not 144 to make it a perfect rectangle. If you want to make it 144, you can, just delete 2 of those trees over here. But again, you don't need to, right? Because we're producing enough already. Then we have the 2 warehouse over here. We have the fire station, we have the police station in the middle, then all of our framework knitters on this side, so close to the warehouse, right? And then a couple of those sheep farms, it's actually only 4, but because of the silos, with 4 we're producing 21. So that's really cool. And then a grain farm right in the middle to deliver to all of those silos over here and over there. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like something like this that also integrates the grain directly? I created this one on my own and I was pretty proud of it. So would love to hear your thoughts. So that was level 3, still without any trade union, right? We don't have a trade union. You can still be quite early in the game when you build this. So now level 4, let's move to our next one. The first one, which has a trade union, but it's not a dedicated trade union. It's a trade union that's going to cover both the workloads and the sheep farm. I'm not gonna lie, there are actually a couple of sheep farms that are not in the trade union, but you can see most of them are. And in particular, all of the workloads buildings are inside the trade union. Then we have a couple of warehouses in the middle, a couple of warehouses on the exterior. We have a road that goes to the trade union also. If you have, a Department of Labor or something like this, you will be able to get the bonus on the trade union. And then as I said, we have the sheep farm on the outside. We actually didn't use silos In this case, you could, of course, if you wanted, then you will have less of those sheep farms and they'll probably all be into the range of the trade union, but then you also need to bring some grain, right? So in this case, I wanted to make it a bit more kind of self-sustaining, and that's why I didn't. Now with this one, without any working condition or items into the trade union, we had 40 workloads with a perfect ratio of 40 wool being produced. So we've doubled from level 3. And by the way, we also have 2 fire stations and 2 police stations just to make sure that this thing doesn't burn down. Again, pretty proud of it, so don't hesitate to share in the comments below if you have any thoughts, questions, anything you would do differently. But now let's move to the final level, level 5, which is again with the trade union, but this time dedicated, right? We have a trade union dedicated for all of the work clauses, and then we have another one dedicated for the ship that you can see over here. Now with this one, we're actually talking about 90 per minute in terms of the work clauses and 150 for the wool. Of course, when you're gonna do something like this, you will definitely put some items, probably also play with working conditions. So that's why, there's no point in trying to make a stamp that is perfect between those two, because again, you're gonna change that anyway. And like I said before with, for example, this one, you don't really have to build the whole thing at once if you want, right? You can use the blueprint and then you can start building a couple as and when you need them. Now, I may also hear some of you saying, why would I ever need something so big? Well, obviously, if you're a min-maxer and you need millions of population, you may need something like this, but you may also want to do something like this if you're using Dockland, right? You can produce a lot of wool, a lot of work clauses. You would produce it for quite cheap, not a lot of workers, not a lot of maintenance, and then you can sell it for something better. We're talking about 28 sheep farms, all of them in range, of course, all of them with a silo, a lot of warehouses outside, depending on which item you use, right? You may need even more of them. And then for the framework knitters, we're talking about 45. They are quite small buildings, so in this one trade union, we're able to fit a lot of them. Again, you'll need a lot of warehouses, depending, of course, on your items. Of course, you will also need a bit of grain, but we're talking about 6 grain. That's really not a lot. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, 6 different stamps from very basics and mixed with the schnapps to very advanced with trade unions dedicated for the ship or for the work clauses. We also have in the middle, the one with the grain integrated. And as I said at the beginning, all of those stamps are available for free in my Discord community. Just check in the video description below if you want to join. Don't hesitate also to tell me in the comments which next resource do you want to see if I haven't covered it on the series. Could be on population, could be on production. And talking about this series, you will see now on the screen the full playlist if you want to see all the other episodes. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time.